All right, we are live on YouTube. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera. Good morning, everyone. So how's everyone? I hope everyone is safe. Welcome to the webinar session this morning. My name is Abdul Karim Alias from University of Science Malaysia. I'm the host of our webinar session this morning. And welcome to our speakers this morning, distinguished speakers. We are privileged to have three special guest speakers this morning to share on the topic of, what's the topic? Attention grabbing online course, okay? So guys, you can unmute your microphone.
Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone.
Assalamualaikum Zaid, Assalamualaikum Dr. Helmi, Assalamualaikum Chuah Kee Man. So thank you very much for agreeing to be the speaker to share your experience on our topic about attention grabbing, how to create attention grabbing online course this morning. And once again, for those who just joined in the session this morning, warm welcome to everyone. And this is going to be a very exciting topic because when we talk about online course or e-learning course, one of the main challenges, I think, for most people, for most teachers and educators, is about engaging the students, how to grab the attention of the students, how to hook the students and retain the attention during the, during the session, the whole session. So this is basically the main topic that we're going to discuss this morning. Okay, let me just, I will introduce the speakers shortly. So let me just share my PowerPoint. All right.
Can I comment here? Just kidding. Why do I only get a small dot? Huh?
Oh, a small dot.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Iman got 2 dots. Kelvin got 1.5. I got a small dot only.
Because the bigger dots has been grabbed by by Chuah Kee Man and also by Helmi.
This is psychological warfare, man.
Okay, you are so greedy, Zaid.
This is Royal Rumble, man.
Okay, we are still people still trickling in. Anyway, I will start off by introducing our topic this morning: how to create an attention-grabbing online course. And we have the three speakers here because they have been very active online. People like Zaid, he has been a long time doing this for a long time, and Chuah Kee Man and also Dr. Helmi are the so-called new kids on the block, but these are the aspiring, I think it will be the future of new champions of online or e-learning course or online learning. So they'll be sharing some of their experience. It's going to be very exciting. I can promise you. Okay, let me give some kind of put things into perspective. Okay, why attention grabbing? Why these are the important thing that we have to keep in mind when we design our online course? Well, there was a big survey research done by Microsoft Canada a couple of years ago. And these are the main finding. Okay, an average human attention span is 9 seconds. I don't know how they come up with that, but that's the fact from that survey. And the goldfish has an attention span of 8 seconds. So meaning that on average, the attention span of adult learners is about 9 seconds, is just 1 second longer than a goldfish. So there is something very, very important, the fact that we need to consider with that very short time span. How do we retain the attention? How do we hook the learners or the students so that they can, spend longer in our course, and they can get more. So this is a fact to consider when we design education for the future, when we design our online course or e-learning course. Okay, and I've written quite a long article in my blog. You can Google my name and the title of this blog: Social Media and the Dwindling Attention Span. So I talk about how important it is to pay attention or attention span, and how we can put in elements of surprise in terms of the learning activities, in terms of the assessment and so on, so that we can engage the students and we can hook their attention and increase their attention span in our course. Okay. Okay. Now let me introduce.
We go mute. Okay, we go mute.
Yeah. Okay, before that, to all the participants that joined in the webinar today, while you are listening, I hope you can be an active listener. So because the best way to benefit from a webinar is to be an active listener. So when I join any webinar, I like to be an active listener, and I will listen to the points, and I will summarize in my own way, and I share in the chat box. And I like to ask questions, and I like to share my thought, and sometimes I will share also relevant resources in the chat box so that the participants can benefit from it. So when I spend one time or even 1 hour or even 2 hours in the webinar, I will gain a lot of knowledge from that webinar, so I don't waste my time. Okay, so I hope I would encourage all of you also to actively participate, be an active listener, and share your thought, ask questions. Yeah. And finally, before I introduce the speaker, I would like to invite all of you, if you have not joined our Facebook, this Facebook group called Aspiring Young Academics, I would strongly encourage you to join, because I share a lot of resources, a lot of useful things in this Facebook group. And other people also are sharing resources, including Zaid, Chuah Kee Man, and others. So these are not only for young academics. Anyone below 60 is still considered young, including myself. All right. Let me first introduce. Okay, I will stop share now. Okay, so you can see our speakers on the screen now. So let me first introduce Mr. Chuah Kee Man. Chuah Kee Man will be our first speaker. So Mr. Chuah Kee Man is a lecturer and researcher in the areas of e-learning, cognitive and computational linguistics, learning sciences, and English language teaching. Okay, and he has won several awards at national and international levels for various innovations in teaching and learning, and his research interests. So for those who are here, if you have a common research interest with Kee Man, so maybe you want to get in touch with him. His research interest revolves mainly in the realms of cognitive linguistics, technology-enhanced learning, assistive technology, and learning analytics. All right. Okay. Our second speaker in this session after Kee Man is TS or Technologist Dr. Muhammad Helmi Norman. Currently, Dr. Helmi is the Deputy Director of Teaching Innovation and Learning Technologies at the Center for Teaching and Curriculum Development, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM, and a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Education, UKM. So both of them are Kee Man and Helmi. Dr. Helmi is from education background. Dr. Helmi is also an Apple Distinguished Educator and Apple Professional Learning Specialist, and he's been invited. He's been visiting professors, visiting academic in many universities outside Malaysia as well. And the last but not least, our third speaker this morning is Mr. Zaid Ali Alsagoff. I think he needs not, I don't have to introduce him because I think he's been very, very popular faces in e-learning for a long time. Mr. Zaid Ali Alsagoff, also known as Captain Zaid, and also known as an Arab Viking. He's a learning innovation specialist with nearly 20 years experience with e-learning in higher education. He has actually a very long biodata, but you just Google him, you will find a lot of things about him. His web presence is he's very, very visible on the internet. Okay, and so I guess that's about all that I want to say about our speakers. And before I pass over to our first speaker this morning, let me just welcome once again those who just joined in. We have about 111 participants now in this web session. So a warm welcome once again. My name is Abdul Karim Alias from University of Science Malaysia. And this is a session, the title of this session is How to Create Attention-Grabbing Online Course. And with us today, we have Mr. Chuah Kee Man, we have Dr. Muhammad Helmi, Norman, and also Mr. Zaid Ali Alsagoff. So we will start off with Mr. Chuah Kee Man. So now, Kee Man, over to you.
Thank you, Prof. Karim, and also everyone. It's good to be with Dr. Helmi and also Captain Zaid this morning, and also, of course, all of you to talk about, I think, something which is very critical at this moment. We were doing a lot of online courses and all that. I think it's high time to take a look at some critical aspect that we can make people, get more engagement. So I'm going to share my screen now. Let me just put it on. Okay, hope you can see the screen. What I will do is I will just touch the, I think, the fundamentals, and then I'll leave to the two experts to talk more about the tools. So I think I'll set the stage first. That's the good thing about being the first one to start. I get to choose what I want. Anyway, but I think that the Dr. Helmi and also Captain Zaid will do, they'll do a wonderful job explaining certain tools. But I'm going to share the not so secret tips. It means it's been going on for quite some time, and regardless whether you're doing online or face-to-face, these are the things that I think we should really pay attention to. So if you are not doing it online, it somehow also tells us that you don't really do it face-to-face. So if you can kind of consider both worlds and try to make use of the the good aspect of the face-to-face interaction, we try to put it in an online setting, and then maybe we can try to encourage more participation. So I'm going to start with this picture. Take a look at this picture. What can you tell me about this picture in one word? So you can post in the chat. One word only. I only need one word. Take a look at this picture and give me one word. I'm going to give maybe 30 seconds for you to post your answers in the chat. Again, I repeat.
What's the question again,
Take a look at this picture. Give me one word that comes into your mind when you look at it. One word only. Yeah, I know you have a tendency to post a lot of long sentences, but I just need one word. You can put it in the chat if you want to. You can think aloud if you want, but I need you to, put it in words so that we can see your thoughts. So I see colorful, I see variety, a lot of colorful going on, diversity, multiplicity, diverse. Some people say empty, quite a number of empty, but colorful seems to be very popular. Any more? Unique. Dr. Rahman said unique. Nice. Safe word, right? Nice. Okay. Diversity. Yeah. Yeah, you can still post if you want to, but I think that if I were to just do this in class, right? Imagine if I do this in class without any maybe extra tools. I just use my PowerPoint. I would just show a picture and then I would just randomly ask everyone, and then everyone will be shouting their words, or maybe I can ask them to write on a piece of paper and all that. If I have a tool, let's say if I use a word cloud, then you can post it in the word cloud, and then I will see all those words, becoming even more visualized and easier for us to detect all those words. So I think this is where sometimes the face-to-face thing that we do, if we inject a bit of technology, that would help us to visualize better. I think that is the key point of using technology at time, but you can still achieve the same impact, right? Whether it's in face-to-face or in online setting. So I see a lot of colorful. Yeah, I mean, there's no definite answer to this. And every time if you do this in class, you will start picking, okay, I want somebody, maybe Prof. and tell me, why do you think it's colorful, and then pick another, Dr. Helmi, why do you think it's empty? You start to do that kind of interaction in class. That I think starts, start to get a lot of attention, and people will start to react to certain triggers that you poke. So using visual is one, and then using technology to supplement the way you engage or the way you collect all this feedback, that would be another advantage. So I leave it to you. You can go and argue and debate about this picture for 3 hours if you want to, but I'm going to leave you with the picture in mind first. Again, I'm going to move on to the next slide. Now, a bit of activity. This is a very simple poll. I just want to know, because I think good to know from you. Just go to this link. If you are using mobile to watch this YouTube live, then don't worry. You don't have to, struggle with the technology by opening a new tab. But if you are using your laptop, just quickly scan this and go to bit.ly and view one. Let me just minimize this. Okay, can you see it? Okay. You can scan it. You can go direct to the link. If you're using, if you're using laptop to view the YouTube, then you can always use your phone to scan. If you're using your phone to watch the YouTube video, you just have to open another browser. It's a bit tricky, but try to participate. Very simple question on this. What matters to you when choosing a course? I'm gonna minimize a bit, maybe. Yeah, just in case you are trying to join this. I don't want to review first. Okay. You see, my photo just now is still triggering a lot of discussion in the chat, which is good. This is how you grab the attention of your student. Just simple photo can grab a lot of attention sometimes, but which is nice. I see a lot of discussion going on. One directional facing chair, like Jana said, things like that, which is nice. But at the moment, we want move on a bit, or else we'll be talking about the chairs for 3 hours. Okay, are you there? Okay, are you able to go to this link? Now let's see the result. I know a lot of you are responded. Okay, we talk about what matters to you when choosing a course. If I were to look at this one, the percentage, large majority is choosing course content, right? And then after that is the outcome. Nobody actually picked the last one, the duration. Content seems to be the focus. Any more coming in? But that's a huge number, actually. Nobody bothers about the teacher. You see, so sad. I mean, who cares who teaches, right? As long as the content is good and I'm enrolled. So I think our job is done, because you don't have to be a good teacher. You just have to provide good content. No, I'm just kidding. But this is a fact. Every time you do a survey like this to your learners, they will tell you things that matters the most to them is always the content, right? And then when you ask them, what if I put the content online, all my content online, and then would you go and check it, or would you go and learn it? And they will say, no, we need you to be there. We need you to guide us. We need you to give feedback. So are you looking at the course content, or are you looking at the teacher or the instructor? So I think if we go deeper, every time learner talk about course content, they are actually, wanting this, the feedback, the instructor presence and all that. But anyway, this is a good indicator of the normal thing that we always get. Every time you ask the the learners, they tend to give you this kind of feedback. All right, so good. Thanks for participating. All right, I think Captain Zaid will be giving you more work to do, but I'm going to stop you with this one. I'm going to continue with my sharing. Oops, sorry. Okay. Now, as I was saying just now, we talk about course content and all that. So now that you have probably developed your digital learning content, you have your slides, you have your videos, pre-recorded stuff done, and then you design your activities, assessment all done. You put it on your learning management system, whatever platform you have chosen, and then suddenly you realize nobody is going to your page, nobody is visiting, or maybe very minimal interaction going on. Learners are not really keen to do your activities and all that. But if you ask a survey, just now, like indicated in the survey, everyone seems to be excited about the content. So I think the shift is more towards us. I think that's why a lot of us are tired. We get really tired on doing this because it drains us a lot, because we need to keep the learning going. And then no matter how perfect, how brilliant your content is, without you being there, without you having that kind of interaction, it will be kind of, you feel that tiredness of doing all these things, right? So another warming up before, I only have 10 slides anyway, just to cover my part. But I posted this quote before to my students in class. So I asked them to reflect on this. They say, education is not the feeling of a pill, but the lighting of a fire. If you post a quote like this, and then you ask them for opinion and all that, normally if you hit the right group, let's say your audience are all teachers, or maybe your audience are teacher trainees, then they will give you that kind of answer where, oh, education is important, you have to get the students involved, you cannot just one-way traffic, you need to have communication. But if you post this generally to any classes, like what I did, they will be asking a lot of things. They'll say, who actually light the fire? Who is the one holding that match to light the fire? Will we burn the forest? All this kind of feedback that we don't really get from a specific group of learners. So I think when you talk about grabbing attention, it really depends on what kind of target group are you looking at. If you're talking about a slightly more homogeneous group, then you kind of get a standardized answer. But if you post it openly, like what we're doing now in a webinar where anyone can come in, you get diversity in terms of the feedback, the outcome, and all that. Which brings me to the picture just now, the first one. A lot of you talk about colorful, diversity, inclusiveness, a lot of answers coming in. But if I were to put the same picture to my class of maybe design student, they'll be talking about the ergonomics of it. They'll be talking about how old school the design is, and things like that. So a quote like this can trigger a lot of discussion if you know how to do it. You don't even have to have a fancy, animation or whatever. But what I'm trying to tell you is, content is still content. I can pass this content to anyone else, but the person who delivered the content will make it, more meaningful, or will make it more impactful, will make it more attention grabbing. And then as we talk about attention grabbing, I think grabbing your attention is quite easy, but to sustain your attention is hard. We have a memory of less than 9 seconds, right? I think by now all of you are sleeping. Maybe continue your sleep, but to sustain is really, really hard. That's what I learned all these years when it comes to online learning and all that. To grab students' attention is quite easy, but to sustain them is quite hard. And I'm going to share a few things that I've learned. Somehow all roads leads to motivation. And that kind of motivation is so subjective. No one can perfectly raise your hand and tell me, I have done my job, I get 100% motivated student, all my students are really, really motivated, they're into whatever I'm delivering and all that. We still get a lot of cases where students are not really participating, not engaging to the task and all that, because motivation is so subjective, so gray sometimes. We don't really know how to control, or how to manage it, right? But anyway, I'm going to share 3 tips only, right? Based on this Catalysis framework, the core behavior that drives or motivates a person to complete a task. Now, the founder of Catalysis Group, Yu Kai Chow, actually uses this for game design, right? But I thought after using this for a couple of years in some of my learning design research and all that, I noticed he kind of summarized the essence of how learning should be designed. Doesn't matter whether it's online or doesn't matter whether it's face-to-face. If it's online, it's even better because you get more tools to help you. But you also leave out some face-to-face interaction that you cannot get in the online environment. So I'm going to pick three only very quickly. Pick three. First one is what he says as epic meaning and calling, or if you put one word, that would be meaning. I love it when Prof. Rozan mentioned about this relevance, like now all of you are in front of us here because you see the relevance of being here and listen to us talking about this topic. If you don't see any relevance of it, maybe you're not from teaching, you're from business world, you won't be here. Because establishing the presence is really, really critical in any online course. You really need to let people see the relevance, and the relevance is not really easy to establish, right? Presence, I was talking about this a lot, about your teaching presence, your behavior, your character, that will give that kind of meaning. And last one, a lot of us forget, patience. We have to have very, 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 very huge patience when we deal with online learning, because you cannot expect the moment you teach, everyone will give you feedback, right? You have to be more patient than usual. So I'm going to share you with this. You can actually go to this link, bit.ly/Susan How. I just shortened it to Susan How. Actually, it's from Susan Ambrose et al. They talk about what factors motivate students, and inside that particular chapter, which is shared openly, there are a few cases. There are a few cases where they talk about how professors spend time doing engaging activities, but nobody is engaged. Feel it is engaging and all that. So you can take a look. But I like the fact that they talk about perception of value, expectation of success, supporting environment, to cover that meaning part. So if you don't establish this, then your attention grabbing that you did for the first few seconds will just die off throughout the whole session of your class or your online learning. So I'm not going to go deeper because we don't really have time, but just keep that in mind, that learners need to know all this. And just now, if those of you who picked the outcome just now in the poll, if you pick outcome, meaning you're talking about the this one, expectation of success. You want to get an A, right? You want to get a degree, you want to get a certificate. So that would actually motivate you to stay on and listen, or maybe participate, right? Number two, empowerment. Just to make it simple, ensuring learners are empowered by meaningful activities with meaningful feedback. I purposely repeat the word meaningful because a lot of time we have meaningful activities, but no meaningful feedback. No meaningful feedback is like, good, excellent. you need to work harder. There's no meaningful feedback given to the learners, and how on earth are you expecting them to improve, right? And then they don't feel empowered. It's like, I did all this and all the lecture give me is one word, good or excellent. Okay, so think about that. Empowerment will be one element that you have to inject in your online course so that the learners will be able to engage in your course longer. And last one, this is quite critical, I think, social influence. I think we have to acknowledge the fact that we have this human desire to connect and compare with one another. We cannot run away from what Yukai mentioned about group envy. Group envy is not a negative thing. It means, let's say you have two courses or two classes. This classes seems to have very hyper lecturer doing a lot of things, doing a lot of activities. This one is not really doing much. And then the students in this group will start to be, envy, having the envy of the other group, and they will start move on to that particular class or move on to that particular course. So in order for you to establish this social presence or influence, to make it exact, try to acknowledge the fact that it's okay for them not to participate actively at first. They can slowly come in later. Don't expect like if you have 100 students and then you want all 100 of them to buy into your course immediately. Sometimes it's the group envy that triggers, My friend is in that group. Somehow he gives a lot of positive feedback. So I might want to try this and things like that. So this is quite critical. And this is also why I kind of encourage educators or lecturers to also share your content online in social media. Keep sharing, because if you don't share, people won't know, how good you are or what kind of content are you sharing. Then they don't appreciate your course. You work so hard to produce it, you just share it to your 50 in the class, but nobody knows what you're doing. Might as well share it on the social media first, maybe some teaser of it, and then you get that excitement going on, and then people were telling me, okay, let's go to this course, this is a really good course, or let's go to this lecturer because he's doing very good in this aspect, right? Things like that. So I think when you talk about design of your class or your activities, you also have to talk about this. All right. I think that's all from me. I talked about, I think, 20 minutes. I'm gonna pass the baton to Prof. Karim first, or Dr. Helmi terus.
Okay. Thank you, Chuah Kee Man, Mr. Chuah Kee Man. Well, I think I've summarized some of your points actually in the chat. But you will make your PowerPoint slide available, right?
Yeah, I will.
So Mr. Chuah Kee Man will pass on the PowerPoint to me. Then I will share the link to download in the description below the video after the session. Okay. So thank you very much, Mr. Chuah Kee Man. I think that basically set the scenes, set the stage.
To the two of them.
Yeah. Then the other two speakers will. Right now, without much ado, much delay, I will now introduce Dr. Muhammad Helmi Norman. I have introduced him, so I think I just pass over the baton to Helmi.
Okay, thank you, Prof. and Kee Man. Yes, and again, thank you, Prof. Karim, for inviting me here in this webinar, and Kee Man for giving me a hard time to sort of top him. I think Captain Zaid is the hardest because he has to top all of us. Anyway, okay, so let's go to my slides and let me share my screen here. Right. Okay.
Yeah, can see.
All right. Cool. Okay. So we're talking about attention grabbing course. And now on my iPad. So this is me, Deputy Director for Center for Teaching and Curriculum Development. And here are some points about me. So I'm also with IBL, International Association for Blended Learning, and MIPTA. So I think Prof. Karim was a member before, and Kee Man. So and I'm also an Apple Distinguished Educator. Okay. So now let's have a look at this video first to sort of.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hari ini kita akan belajar mengenai reka bentuk pembelajaran futuristik ya. Okey, rasanya semua tahu kan pembelajaran futuristik apa? Boleh siapa-siapa bagi definisi? Tapi kamu dah tahu kan? Itulah. So, pembelajaran futuristik ni itulah, senang je you nak apply. Ada siapa yang tahu macam nak apply? Ada yang tahu? Yang sana? Tak, saya tahu. Semua dah tahu. So, itulah dia. Pembelajaran ni, you Google je semua benda. You Google je. Lepas tu you suruh je student buat assignment, dia akan terjadi lah. Dengan you integrate lah teknologi tu. You masukkan integrate. You masukkan dia teknologi tu. Semua akan terjadi lah. Okay. Senang je. So, semua student akan dapat 4C tu ya. Dia 4C ya. Fikiran kritis, kolaborasi, kreatif dan juga kerjasama lah. Okay. Semua tu akan terjadi lah.
Okay, so that's just a teaser on. Sorry, it's in Malay. I will give the the captions after this. Anyway, I'm talking about futuristic education. But again, look at my face. Look at the slides there. Give in the chat box. Give your comments on this. What's wrong with my video? What's wrong with this? Okay, and I think this is typical in in face-to-face settings, in online settings. You go in. Okay, these are my slides. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So now, how do you make that interesting? How do you make stuff engaging? Right. That's all right, let's proceed. So this is my recipe. Okay, everybody's talking about food now. It's like, oh, food. Oh, I did this. I cooked this. So I'm gonna cook something today on digital learning. All right. So ingredient 1. Right. Start with a story. I think what Prof. Karim told us about the hook, creating the hook. I think that's a very essential part of starting a course. I was talking to Prof. Karim before. I met him before this, during at the Faculty of Education. So he showed me an iPad. So, oh my God, oh, this is cool, and what he's done with that. So I think engaging with the story. I love this picture. I use it in all my workshops, like internationally, nationally. But why? Because it's very impactful. this student doesn't know anything about iPads, doesn't know anything about drawing, doesn't know anything about video production, and never recorded her voice. But look at what she has done. I like this again, and I'll just play it again. I know you have seen it, but if you haven't, here's the animation. Okay.
Hi, I am Amir. What a wonderful day today. I am planning to walk around the jungle and appreciate the nature.
Okay. Why I'm showing this is this is actually hard to do. Believe me, this is hard to do previously, but now it's very easy to do because everything is on one device, on one technology, the drawing, I'll just show you in a bit how you do that, because it's not about drawing anymore. It's about tracing, because they traced it. And then, it's not about, you have to take the sounds from, the sound is from the forest. So you have to, before this, you have to go and record outside. But now no more. Just collect use one software. In this software, they're using GarageBand. Just take the loops and put it in. And look at the design, the drawings, the sound, okay? And again.
Look, there's a cave. I wonder what's inside there. Let's take a look.
Okay, so now what the student actually did is they flipped the classroom, and instead of starting with sound waves, okay, this is actually form 2, sound wave. A problematic subject for students, and they didn't understand what is sound wave. And I love this slide. Have a look at this one.
Hello. Who is that?
So I think this is a very impactful slide. Why? Because now the visuals are there. It's like, oh, sound waves are the wave, and then there's waves actually to sound waves, and then the visual is there and the sound effect. And you see the echo at the back. So I think this is a crucial in creating designs, creating that. And again, this one, this slide, I love this one.
Now I remember. When sound travels in a given medium, it strikes the surface of another medium and bounces back in some other direction. This phenomena is called the reflection of sound. Good. For example, the hard surface of the wall will reflect the sound back into the room. Otherwise, if a surface is soft, sound is absorbed.
Okay, so now you're flipping it, you're giving the theory after. So I think it's a very crucial thing. Flip your classroom, flip the things you've been doing, flip the theory at the back. Who says that theory has to go at the front? So I think these are some of the important things when creating your content. Right? So let's go to ingredient 2. As I'm saying just now, flip it. All right. So how do you flip it? Okay, so this is the typical course content delivery. Theory first, explanation, example. Now what the student did is flipping it. Example first, explanation, then theory at the back. So that's what you want. That's I think that's one of the recipes for today. I hope I'm not making you hungry. So all right, and so ingredient 3 is about provoking ideas. So how do you provoke ideas? So this one, all right. I think I've shown you here. And how do you provoke ideas is look at this, okay? Using comics, all right, and showing what is the difference between face-to-face and online. So here, in face-to-face, you need a car, and the car is the internet. So in face-to-face, you need a physical space. Now, in online space, you need a virtual space. I think using technologies is very powerful in delivering that. Yeah. All right. So keep it simple yet meaningful. That's ingredient number 4. So spice 1. So we're talking about food here. Minimalist design. Okay. So you want the design to be clean, clean, modern. And as the slides here, you can see that I'm trying to use, I just use white, black, and gray. So it's about consistency. And look at this, having this consistency. This is actually our new learning management system. But again, it's about consistency, using headers, using visual aesthetics that are consistent. And technology space, okay. This is actually the table that I'm using here. You see here the light coming here. So I think this is important. Lighting, technology that is in your in creating that content. Okay, so what do I have here? All right. So empowering the audience. Ingredient number 5. So again, how to empower students. So again, I like to use my students' example. I think they are the ones who show that oh, actually this is what we learn in Dr. Helmi's class. This is what we learn in the content. I mean in the course. Okay. So again, these are students with the Faculty of Education, distance learners, and they have minimal background in music, and this is what okay. All right. Again, I love this.
Photosynthesis. 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 Have you ever wondered, green leaf in the nature, it can make life better, we live healthier. Fundamental process, they make their own food, 4 things are needed, let me tell you now, check it out.
All right, check it out, check that song out. Okay, I'll put that on YouTube. And I think for the final ingredient, always end with the invite, like a quote, like Kee Man did just now. I think Prof. Karim always does that in his webinars. Captain Zaid, end with invite, and like provoke people. So what did you see just now? I shared my story. Now you share yours. So I think those are the important things to create content, to create good content. I can actually do a technical section, but I think it's about see. This is one of the tips. Share your recipe today. I did my digital recipe. Where's yours? I think that's the ingredients. Six ingredients, 6 ingredients and 3 spices of my digital recipe. I think I will end with that. And if I have time, I would love a technical session. Or usually I do a lot of techie stuff. But I think it's about, I was listening to one of Prof. Karim's podcasts, and he was saying about mindset. I think this is the first thing you have to do is change your mindset. Face-to-face is actually similar to digital learning here. See, you're doing face-to-face, but there are some limitations, there are some benefits. So you have to understand and change your mindset first, and then you go for technology. It's not, technology is important, but I think mindset change is important first, then you will go to that. So do share your recipe in the chat box with us, and yeah, we'll have a delve on that. Okay, thank you. Back to you, Prof. Karim.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Helmi, Norman. Well, it's actually a hard work to really engage the students in an online course. The same in the face-to-face situation as well. It's always a hard work to really design activities in each of our lesson, in each of our class. Well, there's nothing easy. To be a great educator, we have to spend a lot of time. We have to be very creative, very innovative. We have to learn the tricks of the trade, the tools of the trade, and learn to use it effectively, because it's not about tools. It's about how creative we are to design the learning activities that really can grab the attention of the students. But grabbing attention is one thing. How to make it relevant, how to make it impactful. At the end of the day, we need to be guided by the learning outcome, right? Well, it's very exciting. I think Dr. Helmi has shared a few of his secret recipe. He has revealed that secret recipe, but of course, it's just a conceptual. Later on, maybe we can have more technical session to go into each of that. But now, let's see what we have in store from our Captain Zaid Ali Alsagoff. Okay, Zaid, over to you.
Okay. Hey. Oh, thank you. Okay. Let me just share the screen first.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see. We can see your screen. Zaid, by the way, I saw in the chat box, someone, I think my colleague also, he said, hook me, hook me.
Okay.
Okay, carry on.
But you can see my screen now, huh?
Yeah. Can see you,
Okay.
can see the screen. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me just start again. I follow your tips. I have a timer here. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is, I don't know anymore. I keep on changing it all the time. If you see my background, just for fun, I'm working on a new project. So I'm just for fun. This is not money making. I'm just learning how to speak Bahasa Malaysia. So I have something called BM Sejuk. So forces me to speak BM. Okay. So basically, what I did yesterday was I like to draw. The two previous speakers, Kee Man and Dr. Helmi, was great speeches, excellent stuff. And I don't have to cover that much. That's good. But I just want to I want to interject with Dr. Helmi regarding drawing. I think it's very dangerous to introduce tracing as an excitement for drawing, because that actually kills creativity and it kills confidence in drawing, because tracing is you become obsessed with just drawing what already exists instead of focusing on your own ideas in your head. So I think tracing is okay, but that's something for kids, allow them to express themselves without tracing at the initial stage. I just want to correct that, but I'll talk about that later. We don't want to talk about, but it was really good. I think what Dr. Helmi did was actually fantastic. I think what Kee Man did, he actually demonstrated how to engage and so on, so it was brilliant. So now it's my turn. So I did a drawing yesterday. Let me just see, why is it not my slides? Let me just go to my slides there. Okay.
Share screen.
So you see do you see my slides? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why it's not moving. My slides are not moving when it's inside here. Okay. So you see here, I did a drawing yesterday. I like to draw. So I tried to summarize the 4 steps of an online course. And the first stage, basically, is the most difficult one. Even before people get to your course, you need to attract people to your course, unless you're at university. And one of the challenges with attracting people to the course is that if you don't have a name, you're not part of a great institution, you don't have probably great content, it's very difficult. So you need to have a way to attract yourself. And it's very easy, because like when we started off with the MOCs or MOOCs, Massive Open Online Courses, you could see straight away like Harvard, Stanford, of course, they will attract thousands and thousands of students. But when we started doing it, it was tough, because unless our courses was a required course and people attended because they had to. So attraction is actually the first stage of any online course, to create attention, to attract your people to the course. And that's challenging. So that goes beyond content. Sometimes you see course make money, they're not really good, but they're good at the marketing aspect. So you have to think about the marketing aspect. The second stage, which we talked about, which was brilliant, I think Dr. Helmi talked about introduce to gain connection through storytelling, and Dr. Helmi through use, Kee Man used was it WooClap?
WooClap. Yeah.
Wow. When it comes to connection, 2 aspects of WooClap. One of the things is connection. One is to connect. I think it's very important before we go to the third stage, which is engage the students, really engage them. We need to connect with the students and create that safe environment. So it's 2 ways. One is that the teacher managed to connect with the student, and at the same time, the teacher creates an environment so all the students connect with each other. I just want to share with you an example. This was blended course. I did critical thinking in 2007. So one of the things I did was I had an activity in the beginning, the first class. I asked the students to write, they broke into groups, and they asked what are the 10 top characteristics of a student. and what are top characteristics of a great teacher. So they will put that together and they'll do in groups. And then they'll come and they'll present, like each group represents, this is the 10 great things we expect from the teacher. And these are the 10 great things we expect from the students. So after we finished that activity, I told them basically, this is exactly what we're going to do. What you have told me about what is a great teacher, I will try to live up to. And what you told me also what is a great student, you have to live up to that. So that was kind of a negotiation and agreement. So we created that connection. So important to create that connection. So the next stage in my drawing is the engagement part. Now we have connected, we have created that relationship. Now we can do all this engagement. Because now the students trust you. So if you want to go beyond just multiple choice, you can have that engagement that the students create presentations or they do some real research, or they go into the field and then they record it and then they present it, because now they feel safe because they know the kind of teacher you are, that you accept maybe mistakes, you just want them to try and explore. So you create that engagement. Now the highest level that we really, I mean, every teacher dreams of, it's like the orgasm for the teacher, is that they can inspire the student, right? You know, I'm sure everyone has had that teacher in their life that, you know, they say, if it wasn't for that teacher, I would have probably not gone into that subject. That would not been my career. And I think that's where I think every teacher should aspire to, is to inspire the students. And it's not easy. I remember like John R. Phillips is famous in critical thinking Malaysia. John R. Phillips. He gave a presentation at UNITAR. It was like 15 years ago. I still remember. And he said, the two things you basically need to do with students, two things only. If you can do that, you're good enough. And that's, you need to care for the student first. Once you care for the students, Malaysian students and Asian students, they just love it. If you care for them when they're in need and you try really to help them and it's through your heart, that's a very good strength. That's a good start. But of course, the most important part, but it's not just caring, because you go to education, is to make them understand. So that's the two things, to simplify. So if you can simplify things and make them understand, which is the essence of education in terms of learning, then you are really powerful. So that's basically it, to care and be able to simplify things and create that aha moments and learning experiences. So this is just my fun drawing the 4 steps of getting into great education in general, and you can apply it to online learning. But I think Dr. Helmi and Kee Man has covered a lot of stuff. There's something that has not been covered in, I've attended so many webinars, but has not been focused enough on, and that is your voice. Because when you go online, you have all these tools, but if your voice is monotonous, if your voice is sleepy, falling asleep, or your voice is low, or maybe you feel like, so I want to ask you in the chat board, and I'm also going to do a quick Mentee Meter. How do you feel about your voice? Huh? So I want you to go into Mentee Meter if you can. This is here. You go in here, and you try to answer the question there. I want you to describe your voice in 1 or 2 or 3 words, and then you just submit. And let's see what is your feeling about your own voice, which is very important. Huh? Let me just go myself. I'll do make sure it works. Huh? Sometimes you do this stuff and you don't test yourself and it doesn't work, and then you're like, oh no. Okay, so let's go here. Okay. Because I noticed a lot. I've trained probably thousands now in recording audio and audio, and a lot of people have problem with their own voice. And that if you have problem with your own voice, it's natural. I think most people are not too excited about their own voice because they hear it every day. Okay, so let's see what we have here. I got a word cloud, so I just chose to use word cloud. Let's see what we got here. How do you show results? Let me just go back here. I can show the results anyway. Let's go back to
you have to go. You have to.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Are you trying to? No. I have it here. It's just okay. Yeah, let's see. Okay.
I'm trying to. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we can see here now the voice. Let's go full screen. No, it's just that I'm not used to Mentee. Zoom is like having that all the essential screen. Oh, you can see here.
Okay.
And it's very important to be comfortable with your own voice. I think that's so essential. And usually when I've done it a few times, and not many people are actually okay. Just ask Dr. Helmi. Are you very comfortable with your own voice?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. But I think as a teacher, you have to be that. If you're not comfortable with your own voice, especially when you do audio recording, so you can see here, loud. We've got a lot of loud teachers here. High pitched. Engaging, not too slow, not too loud. Wow, isn't there? Okay, high pitch, okay, normal, funny, soothing, childish, okay, but loud. So I didn't notice Malaysians are so loud. Maybe you got a lot of international participants. Just kidding. Okay, fast. Okay, so these are some of the common things. We got about 19 respondents now. I'll get back to this soon because I only got 5 minutes left. Let's just look here. So there's a lot of research done on this, and I think it's very important. I did another drawing on this. I like to draw my stuff. So in other words, try not to speak too slow. Actually, speaking too slow puts people to sleep. And sometimes if you speak too fast, people have no clue what you're saying, and they'll just exit your online session. So if you see here, let me just put on, you can see my laser pointer. You see my laser pointer here? There's actually a sweet spot here between 150 words to 190, okay? Which I'll look at next. But very important, of course, even if you talk about speed, it's also important to keep some secret tips. Silence is very powerful. So if I wanted to say something very important, what I can do is I can just stop now and listen to it. This is the most important thing I want to say. Dengar. Okay, so silence is a very powerful tool. Silence is extremely powerful. A lot of speakers use that to get that attention, and it works very well. Even online, sometimes you just suddenly stop and people are like wondering. And also slow down. When important points, it's good to slow down and just capture that moment. And then speed up. When you're really excited, you speed up, because you can't just be talking. Sometimes to excite you must speed up and get that excitement. And you can see that Dr. Helmi, he was quite cool, but when he was showing his student assignments, he was like, you know, look at, ooh, it's so excited, you know. But he talks about the iPad, wow. I'm not sure how when he talks about Microsoft, like Microsoft, like that. So he has that excitement, very important. Okay, so there are some research done on this. You can see here, I found from TED Talks. So TED Talks is the most famous talks. Look at Ken Robinson, probably one of the #1 TED Talk in terms of education. You can see here his average rate is 195 words per minute. Now, how do you do it? If you wanted to find out your own, what you do is, if you have a 10-minute recording or even a 5-minute recording, you count the words, and then if you have 10 minutes, you divide it by 10 and you get the average amount of words. It's very powerful, because once you do that, because if you're going to do scripting, say you want to develop e-learning content, if you want to do scripting, if you know your average amount of words, it's like if I want to do a 5-minute video, I would know 5 times, say 150 is already 750 words. So if you're writing 10,000 words or 5, you know, that's too much. So you can actually gauge yourself. But you can look at the pace. The average speech of the 10 top talks in TED Talk is 176 words per minute. I think I speak about 180, 190. I'm quite fast. So it's good to have that benchmark. Okay. I know what is powerful or not. Like, for example, a 3,000 word essay. That's why one of the reasons they give you 20 minutes is they expect you to speak on average about 150 words per minute. Okay. So, but not only the amount of words, it's very important to keep in mind. This was a comparison between Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. At that time, Steve Jobs was just way ahead, right? But look at the amount of words per sentence. He has only on average 10.5 words per sentence. But Bill Gates has 21.6 words. This was in 2007. So you can see it's good to have not so long sentences. When you're giving, especially online, don't have this super long sentence. People get lost. And use simple words. This is very difficult for professors and when you reach that high level, you end up using more difficult words. Use simple words. Speak to a lower level. Speak as if you're speaking to a 6-year-old.
What's your average, Zaid? What's your average?
I'm not sure. I'm very fast. I'm scared. I'm scared to check. Probably 200 plus. Okay, and then from TED Talks, I'm just sharing again because the voice is so powerful, and I think we have to emphasize, we already talked about that. I think one of the most powerful things when you talk about webinars and you're online, even when you're recording, is to have that conversational tone, not so instructional, do this, do that, the learning outcomes is this and that, blah, blah, blah. In a question format, you know, and asking them, you know, when you go to the warung or the coffee shop, you have that conversation. It's so fun. You can go on for hours, but sometimes just listening for a lecture for 10 minutes, it just drives you nuts. But you can go to a warung and speak for 20 minutes. So you have to have that conversational style. It's very important. Although I'm not interacting with you so much today because I got only about 1 minute left, right? And then something new. People want to learn new stuff. If you have nothing new in it, that's why it's very important for people that offer courses, even traditional courses, have something new. What is the latest trends? If you're doing engineering or medicine, infuse that into the course, make it exciting, and also make it memorable, make it stick. Like Prof. Karim, he mentioned the 9-second rule. I think probably the thing that people are going to remember most is that the human memory span is 9 seconds, but actually I'm more curious how they got to find out the goldfish has, I have fish now, I have a pond, and I'm not sure whether that's true, because my fish has a memory of maybe 10, 15 seconds. So I'm not sure about that. Okay, but it's something, and there's a lot you can learn from these books if you want to read. I'm not promoting them, but it's good to know. And also delivery, have props and all that. It's not even online, you can have props. You know, I have my, just for fun, I just have this little prop here. Yeah, so this is my teddy bear Daniel. You can have props, there's nothing wrong with that. And have it a journey. So have a story, as you mentioned. Make it fun, have humor, have jokes and so on. And if you need a voice coach, I'm not a voice coach, but your voice is so, that's what I want to say. Your voice is so important. And I haven't seen any webinars really talk about the power of the voice to impact, to inspire people and so on. So I think that's very important. So that's what I wanted to focus on today, was my nice drawing, whether bad or nice drawing, I did yesterday. And then the 4 steps. So the 4 step was, the first thing, you need to attract people to your course. This is not easy today when so much is free. The second stage is to connect. Let me just go back to my drawing. Okay. Is to connect. And the third is, once you're connected, the students feel comfortable, they're safe, then you can really engage them to do amazing stuff. Okay. And then the final part is, if you can inspire students, create those amazing aha moments and bring them to life, that's where you have reached a stage. And that's not about online face-to-face. It's you creating that amazing connection with the students, or you designing an environment that is very inspiring, that empowers people to work together and do the most amazing stuff. So I'm going to make these slides available. So I'm going to make it a bit difficult for you. You can see, I'm going to make it available here. The Learning Innovation Circle is just a Facebook group that I used to share stuff. Then you can, so I'll make the slides available there if you want them. And I'm going to stop now because my time is up. I've gone about 20 seconds above my time. I had a timer today, amazing. Okay, how to stop this stuff. Okay, so I think I'll stop there. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate being here. And I'm very excited about, but I just wanted one more correction. Kee Man is not a new kid on the block. He's been going on since 2001. And that's actually, although his age is young, but his experience is tremendous. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Zaid. Oh, wonderful. I think.
Okay, let me just unshare. Okay, yeah. Stop sharing. Okay.
I think the 3 speakers here, including Zaid, just now have shared a lot of good points. I like the idea of when Zaid mentioned inspire. Well, that's the ultimate things that we want to achieve, which is, again, easier said than done, but that's what we want to achieve. Everyone in the teaching profession always wants to inspire our students. Great teachers.
I think any profession you want to, if you're a leader, you want to inspire your audience, I mean your people, to change the world or whatever. So I think we have to have that in mind. We have to try our best. Whether we do it or not, that's secondary to me. It's more that we put into the process.
Exactly. But apart from inspiring, I also believe when it comes to grabbing the attention of our students, regardless face-to-face or online, of course, now we are talking in the context of online, the teacher has to be also unpredictable, meaning that every session that you have, you come with unexpected, unpredictable things that you're going to do within that 1 hour, if you have a 1 hour session, right? So that actually create curiosity. The student always curious. What's next? Yeah. What things like? You want to say something just now?
Okay. Can I just? I have actually, I have it in my slides. There's 2 things. One is, if you use Gagner's 9 events of instruction, you'll always have that first stage, which is attention grabber. You always want to gain attention first. But there's also something called the star moment with Nancy Duarte, which is,
Zaid,
who are you talking to me?
Yeah. You want to share your screen?
No, okay, yeah, but let me just find. I didn't have it in this slide. Let me just. You just keep on talking. When I get the slide, then I'll show you.
Yeah.
You just keep on talking.
Yeah, you talk about connection, and that's another one key aspect, that when we design our learning activities to engage the students, first and foremost, we have to ask the questions whether these activities would get the students to connect, because one of the I think rule of engagement is getting the connection among the students in the group, and the connection between the students and the teachers. In fact, the connection between the students and the content as well. So I think that has been demonstrated by Dr. Helmi just now. But by the way, to the audience, to the participants here, if you are observant enough, you will notice that the three speakers that we have now in this session, I purposely actually bring these three speakers together because they have three different personalities, you know. So, and the way I put the order, Mr. Chuah Kee Man started first, then Helmi, Dr. Helmi in the middle, and Zaid, the last one. Because I know Chuah Kee Man's style is always very cool. He's a very cool guy, very calm. So, you know, he set the scene, he set the stage for the session. Then Helmi come in with, you know, he's the techie guy, you know, the person that can really create things, wonderful things. Like just now, we was a very nice music, the photosynthesis just now. So that if you want to, you know, invite him to your place, he will show all the wonderful techie things to create content, to create engaging learning activities, those things that we need for grabbing the attention. And Zaid, you can see the style when he came in just now, you know, he put in the energy in his voice, in his style. So those are the things I think we can take in combination. Ideally, if we can have some coolness of Kee Man, the high-tech kind of skills of Helmi, and the energy of Zaid.
Okay, can I?
Yeah,
do you see my screen or not?
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
Okay,
yeah, go
okay.
ahead.
So first, I just want to. We did this. What do you call it? We did this. We did the what called the cloud on.
Yeah.
Describe your own voice in few words. So you can see here. We had 31 respondents, which is about, I don't know, 30% or something, 25%. Yeah. You can see loud, engaging. So at least quite positive. That's good. So once a participant, the voice, they're quite okay with the voice, which is good. But what I want to show you is this. It's called the star moment. It's by Nancy Duarte. It's another drawing. I like to draw my stuff. It's just remember the star moment. When you design any content, even if you're giving a talk, deliberately try to design. You know, you're hoping to know this is something they will always remember. It's something they will always remember. It's called the star moment. If you design it deliberately in your presentation, hopefully that's what, because usually people only remember one thing from a piece of content, a learning out content. People just usually remember one thing. So it's not, it's what do you call it? Keep that in mind. So even when you give a talk, you have maybe 30 points, 40 points, but most likely if they're going to remember it at all, it's just 1 point. So you can actually design that in your presentation. And Nancy Duarte here, she came up with this star moment, which is something they'll always remember. And you can have, as Dr. Helmi said, you can have stories, you can have memorable drama, you can have shocking stats, you can have evocative visuals, not too dramatic visuals. So have to be in Malaysia, you have a bit more, not so much visuals, we can have visuals, and also repeatable sound bites, shocking notes. So there's a lot of things we can do, but it's good to design in every single learning content you have, something that you hope that it will be the sticking point at the end. Hopefully they get everything, but this is the most important, the key, the essential point is being captured in a way, and you can design that in your content. And hopefully the people that learn from it can actually benefit from it. I think I'm going to stop sharing there. I think Kee Man and Dr. Helmi can unmute. I think Helmi is unmute. Kee Man is still not unmuting.
Yeah. Okay. At this point, I want to pick up one question from the chat. I think maybe Kee Man and Helmi can both answer this or address this. By Natsuki at 11:06 a.m. Just curious, do you guys get in character when teaching or recording, or do you recommend to just do it, be yourself with all the flaws and all? So anyone here?
I personally, depends on the target. Let's say if I do video for teachers, helping teachers, then I'll get into that teacher kind of conversation, using the kind of teacher vibes, I call it. If I'm engaging with students, then I would switch a bit to more, a bit more teaching presence is there, meaning we're talking to students kind of way. So but my style is generally, I'm like this, you know, even in the class or in online, that's me. If you watch my video, that's how I talk in class, that's how I explain things and all that, because I try to keep it simple, even as technical as it seems, but I try to lower it down, because sometimes I realize we tend to assume a lot of things. Like when I'm doing videos for teachers, helping them to navigate through Google Classroom and all that, I realize we always assume they know it, you know. Sometimes they don't even know where to click to sign in and all that. So once you realize that kind of mistake, you try to improve it the next video, you know. I think it takes time to practice, but you won't be able to improve if you you know, if you have not tried it. I think it's good to try it first, then you realize, okay, I need to improve on this part, then you move on from there. Yeah. Dr. Helmi?
Yeah, thank you, Kee Man. So yeah, you know, when you come to these you know, teaching or you know, giving training, I think it's important for you to have your style, and slowly reflect on it, and you know, and it becomes better and better, and you have a style. Before this, I didn't like. You remember the first video that I showed? Oh, that was me before. Oh my God, this is so boring. And then when you look at yourself, like, oh my God, I don't want to be like that. And then you start changing, and then you start, you know, like, oh, this is how I do it. And then now I love to start with stories. Like my students start, look at my student here. She can do it. Why can't you do it? So it's like provoking, actually. Like, she can do it. She didn't know anything. And I think you can do it. So I think it's making it easy for students. It's not about, oh my God, I'm so scared of technology. This is so hard to do. No, I can show you in 1 minute how to draw. Like draw, you know, trace, sorry, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, or maybe, you know, you know, animation, music. But I mean, like, you know, but again, I love your slide, Zaid, about inspiring. So I think it's about inspiring, empowering the students. So in your style, I think everybody has a different style, but do self-reflect. It's like, oh, this is not good. I want to change it. Constantly changing, like Prof. Karim is saying, so I think is good. So changing. What is the aha moments, or what is the things? I mean, make your students excited. So I think that's an important thing that is crucial in, you know, online teaching, in face-to-face teaching. Thank you, Prof.
You want to add to that?
Who, me? Yeah.
Are
yeah,
you?
I mean,
are you usually like that? You know, always very excited.
No, I actually, after webinars or even I do workshops, I just lie down on the bed and collapse. You know.
Yeah.
That's my style. I just give all out.
Yeah.
So yeah. So then I'm not like that. So that's one of the reasons. Hotel room, switch on the TV and fall asleep in front of the TV, have some snacks, and that's it. No, I think one of the reasons I brought up voice is because sometimes when I've trained so many teachers recording audio for e-learning content, and sometimes they have this feeling that their voice is boring. But the thing is, this is very trainable. I mean, you can always I'm not saying having a voice that's different from your personality or passion, but you can always make it more passionate. You can change the emphasis when you're talking. Is it monotonous, or you sound like when it comes to important point you elaborate or you speed up? These things are trainable. I mean, they're learnable. They're very learnable. So that's why I want to encourage them. So even if you're not happy with your voice, firstly, I think most people are not happy with the voice. I've listened to professional speakers confess that they don't like their voice at all. They can't even listen to the voice. They get sick of it because they listen to it all the time. So I'm also the same. Sometimes when I listen to my voice, I think I'm too fast, I'm too loud, I sound like Shrek, or that kind of thing. So these are the things you have to get used to. I'm not saying you have to love your voice. You can be a reflection of your voice, but try to accept who you are and try to build upon it instead of killing it. Because when you're negative to your voice, students will feel it. Students will actually feel that you are kind of negative to yourself in terms of anything that you have. So it's kind of a thing that you have to get used to and overcome. And it's overcomable. Okay, I think maybe so.
I think there are some mixed advice actually as to how would you put your image online. Is it be yourself or create a different persona? They call it persona, and this is what we call online persona. And from my reading, actually a lot of times they say, don't just be yourself, but you might want to have other features of yourself as an online persona. Because if you just be yourself, maybe you are the type like the video that shown by Dr. Helmi just now. You are not very energetic, not very exciting. But when you do it online, if you put that kind of be yourself, then it's not going to engage the students. The student just goes off very fast. So yeah, Zaid, you raise your hand. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to interject there. I mean, my background is psychology, so maybe
Okay.
I'll look at. I don't has one self. I mean, in terms of behavior, it's like if kids like I'm not considering some kids maybe they in class they're very boring, right? I noticed that in IMU. I worked in a medical university for 7 years, and some teachers who come to complain, the students are so quiet. They don't make any sound. They never ask questions. And then, because IMU is very small, Spiral, so they have like concerts down there. But when the students have activities down there, they're screaming like it's a Beatles concert. When they come to class, it's quiet. So I said, this is something. This is something that. So you kind of change to the environment you are. But what I'm trying to say, be yourself, is there's a side of you that's very passionate. There's a side of you that's very driven. That's the side you want to bring out when you interact, especially in teaching and learning. Because if you don't feel excited, how can you expect the students to be excited?
Can I add on to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
When you have sometimes you can have an online persona, but not too exaggerated, because student can say, in your class you sounded so boring. Now you turn into a different person online. Are you trying to sell me things? Or they tend to do that. You should be doing that in face-to-face and as well as online environment. But having big difference will make students feel like you're faking it too much.
True.
And
But I think,
adding to what,
Okay, sorry. No, Helmi, Dr. Helmi, please.
And adding to what Zaid and Kee Man is saying, I think passion is important, because students and people see through. I mean, if you're not passionate about, they can see in your face, like, oh my God, this is so boring. Why am I teaching this? So you can see it in your face. You don't have to have content is important, but I think your passion is I think the key moment, or the key feature that presenters, instructors have to have. Yes, Zaid, back to you just now. What you were saying? Yes.
Well, you're so passionate. I was swept away by your passion. No, I think when it comes to faking it, I think that's very important. You mentioned you don't want to fake it, but I remember we were discussing before the event. So sometimes it's good to have fun with yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. If you take yourself too seriously when you go online, it's going to be worse, because sometimes they take a screenshot from you doing something silly and they just put on. So you have to get used to not taking yourself too seriously. And I think, like, for example, we had fun. I was trying to picture Kee Man, what kind of cartoon character he was. And he has two personas, I found. He has Mr. Winnie the Pooh, and then he had Kung Fu Panda. And then this is just fun. And Dr. Helmi, I was picturing as the Pink Panther and Bugs Bunny. And of course, Karim is the amazing Mickey Mouse. And me, I was thinking about more Donald Duck and Shrek combined. So, I mean, sometimes don't take yourself too seriously. It's very difficult, because you're going to have a lot of pain. Because you have a lot of pain in the classroom when people make fun of you. When you do this Mentee Meter and all that, what happens is, I had this issue is that when you have open-ended questions, students, I had one teacher who was very pretty, right? So students say, oh, you're so sexy. So when you get this kind of, I was like, oh God, this is so embarrassing. But the teacher took it well, because she likes being sexy, okay? But I'm just saying that when you use open-ended questions, that's one of the challenges when you use open-ended questions and you have live streaming and all that. It's going to be tough on the teachers. They have to like push it away when the students are having a bit fun, because if you don't push it away, students are going to keep on going. So don't take yourself too seriously and work on it. Okay.
Well, I don't know whether my former students are here, but maybe some of the audience, the participants in this session now, maybe they have attended some of my face-to-face presentation. But if my students are here, or my former students are here, probably they will agree that the way I conduct my face-to-face class, my energy, my passion, everything is almost like 100% also the way I do it online as well. But to be honest, I find it more challenging or more difficult to keep on this, to keep the same level of enthusiasm, the same level of energy when I do it online. Simply because you don't see the students in front of you, the environment, and most of the time we have to sit down on the chair, just like now. So it's it's really different to have the same level of engagement, the same level of energy, the same level of enthusiasm, when doing online. So how do you all feel? Do you have comment on this? Doing online, sitting on the chair. So does it make any difference there? Helmi?
Yes, bro. I think it's the new norm. The buzzword now,
norm.
the new norm.
New
Yeah,
norm.
I think it's
new
true. It's
norm.
true because I mean, like you used to have these students, the audience like in front of you, and then you see the smiles, you see their faces, and then when you see this, it's not like they're like they're blurred and they don't understand what I'm saying, so you change. But here in online, you can't see the faces. I mean, in Zoom, yes, to a certain extent, but I mean, in different and like now webinars, we can't even see the face. It's like, okay, I'm expecting you to like what I'm saying. So I think yes, it's true. You have to like instill that energy, but I think it's about the new norm, and I think again, mindset change. You're now stuck in a chair. How do you I mean, pull the hook? How do you give the hook? I love that word, Prof. Karim. And when I was in Maxis, they were talking about how do you hook people. And on YouTube, the ad is about 3 seconds, and then you have the like you skip ad. How do you create the 3-second hook? So I think it's the same thing. Online teaching, how do you create the hook in your classes? How do you create the hook? I think hooking people is is hard, but again, instilling passion during in a chair in a space is the new norm. I think I think you have to change your mindset and make it happen.
Kee Man,
Kee Man, let Kee Man go. Kee Man. Yallah.
I do agree with Prof and also Dr. Helmi. It does take more work, more more energy to really think of what should be engaging and whatnot. But one thing that I learned is like if we just produce it for the sake of just producing, the sense of satisfaction is not there. So once you share it out, and then you get all this command from whoever you're targeting, and then they start saying that okay, you're doing good and all that, that gives you feedback, and then that makes you even more motivated to create your content and to share. Because if you do it alone and then you just park it somewhere, maybe in your YouTube channel or your Facebook, and then nobody is liking it, you feel it, right? And then you start to be very demotivated, and then okay, I think I don't want to do this anymore. After producing 2 videos, I'll stop. So that kind of sharing habit would actually give us the motivation as well. But again, be mindful that some people may think that we are trying to show off and all that. I think you just have to ignore those kind of negativity. We're not showing off. After all, what's the point of producing the video anyway if you're not sharing, right? So you can park it somewhere, right? So I think that would gives you that motivation to keep on doing what you love and doing what you like. Like me now, you see, I'm still trying to recover from my chicken pox scars, and people were approaching me, are you okay with this? I said, I'm okay, because I don't care what people think about my chicken pox scars. I still go on and producing on my video. I think I should be holding the Malaysia World Record, producing the most video with my chicken scars, things like that.
Okay, I just want to interject here. The idea that we have to sit down while recording, nobody says you have to sit down. Actually, if you have a wireless mic, a lot of people actually stand up. Coaches will stand up. So, and you have a whiteboard. If you want to use a whiteboard and record, you don't have to sit down. And I mean, most people will sit down in the chair. And another thing is that I think there was a survey done. I posted on LIC from Star newspaper. They found that 70+% of the students were frustrated because the teacher didn't interact in the webinar. And I think one of the reasons why teachers are so exhausted, maybe they feel that they have to talk all the time, and if you talk all the time 3, 4, 5 hours a day, it's very exhausting, right? So actually, if you make it interactive, you yourself is so much more relaxing, right? You talk maybe for 10-15 minutes, and then the rest of 45 minutes you get all people to share their work, their projects. So you can it's very relaxing. You know, you can have your feet up there, chilling. Now you're fasting now, but if you're not fasting, have your nice drink, have a little, you know. So I mean, I think that one of the reasons why teachers get so exhausted is because they feel that they must share and they have to talk all the time, and that is exhausting in itself. And the third thing that you don't see the students, I think, is overwhelming. Like if you use, everybody's opening their video camera, you see everyone. It's like it's it's too much. So, but you don't feel the same. The physical presence is different. I totally agree in that. But you do see the students. If you use like Zoom and all that, you will see the students. You don't have to sit down. You can actually stand up if you feel frustrated. But I think teachers like to, I think you need to walk about. So if you have a problem, get a high, actually you can get a table, a bit of higher table. You stand and you can just do the lambada, you know. You don't have to sit down. So if sitting down is a problem, because sometimes when you sit down, your blood circulation goes down, and naturally your voice and your behavior is not going to be that much exciting as when you're standing up, you're doing all your body movement and so on. So everything is possible if you make adjustments.
Prof, I think Prof Chiu here shared about, you know, we get more tired because 50% of our communication actually rely on non-verbal cues. So I kind of agree, because when you're talking face to face, right, you get all these verbal cues, and then you tend to know whether you are on the right track. Now that it's virtual, you don't even know. You know, that's why we keep asking, "Are you okay? You know, are you listening? You know, can you hear me? You know, because we don't really know what's happening at the other end, and then it gets us feeling, you know, exhausted, you know, very fatigued and all that, because we keep on trying to guess. Are we okay with the communication? So if it's face to face, we have this non-verbal cue. I think I kind of like what Prof Chiu had mentioned in the chat just now.
Yeah, that's the reason for any online session. I always encourage, including this session. If you notice, I ask the participants to the audience to interact, post questions, summarize the points of the speaker, and post in the chat. Share your thoughts, share resources. When I join any webinar, I will take that role. You know, well, some people might say, you know, Prof Karim always like to tonjolkan diri, or to, you know, always. But I don't care, because I just want to make the most of the webinar session so that I can learn. How do I learn? I must be active learner, active listener. So I listen, then I summarize the point. Then when I find the good resources, I will share in the link. Then the audience will also benefit, you know. And actually, I do it for myself first, but in the process of doing so, will benefit others as well. Yeah, Zaid, you want to say something?
Okay, I think that worry that the students are not there, I think that's very overcomable, to be honest. What I haven't done today, because today, okay, now you can't see I'm using the virtual, because today, because you're running in Zoom, so I'm looking at the Zoom screen, and then the chat screen is on YouTube, so it gets kind of a bit messy. But what I always recommend is that you get students mostly to communicate through the chat board, and you keep on going to the chat board, you're referring to the name, interacting, because even if people are just switching on and not there, you know, people switch on, they're not there, they're playing games and all that. If you start asking them, you start interjecting their names, oh, Omar, what do you think? Or Ali, what do you think? After a while, they'll start following, because they're scared that their name will come up and you're like giving a tough time. So communicate with them all the time and give them encouragement. Use the sandwich technique. Encouragement, kill them, and then encouragement again, you know. But keep on always talk. When I use my webinars, sometimes my webinars is 3 hours, is way too long, but some people are there still until the end, and they're like fully active, because I'm the more they interact in the chat board, the more I'm interacting with them and interact. So try to get used to always keeping the chat board there and interact, because the good thing about a webinar in that sense, I prefer face-to-face, but just saying, in the face-to-face, most of the time you don't even know who the students are. If you have like 200-300 students, you have no clue their name and so on. But when you're on the webinar, you actually know all the names, because the names are going to be popping up there, and that's very nice, right? So that's a good thing actually so you can actually be very interactive. You can engage all the participants, but you have to interject their name. Like for example, here I have, but it's got a very long name, Floor Engel Anak Christopher Jerry. She said, "Wow, thanks for the advice, Zed." So then she gave me a comment. I can say, you know, you can be encouraged. If you don't like your voice, it's always, you know, so you can interject. So you can go and keep on going at them. And if you do that for a few classes, you will see your students will be very active. They'll be so scared to run away. Even if they're here, you see my face, right? How do you know I'm looking at your screen? I could be playing a game. You know, I could be chatting. I could be watching a Korean movie. So that's just, the only way to know is actually you ask them questions and they answer back. And that's either through the chat bot or sharing the screen or the audio.
Yeah, call their name, right? I usually do that just to check whether they are still there or they are paying attention.
And then it's the 10-minute rule, the John Medina's 10-minute rule, that you should always interact within 10 minutes. Online is less, probably about 4 minutes, 3-4 minutes. Every 3-4 minutes, you just have to shut up, shh, and say, okay, what do you think? What I said now, does it make sense to you? How would you? What's your opinion? Should we talk nonstop, or should we interject and have a little chat like Warong style? So you keep that in mind all the time. Because I've been to webinars and they're just talking for half an hour and hoping that people are there, but it's very tiring. It's tiring for you as a speaker, and it's extremely tiring for the listener also. It's both ways.
I'm guilty of that as well, because sometimes you are too excited to share, to talk, and sometimes it's only half an hour. Then okay, any questions? Okay, speakers, can you all just go through if you want to pick up any comment or question from there? I think there's one from Jehanna there. Jehanna is from Unit 10. She said that all the attractive drawings and videos may engage the visual one, the visual learners. What about the auditories one? Are they into podcasts? So anyone to pick up on this? Because we have some are very visual, Yeah.
Okay, can I just comment first? I'm sorry to interject them.
No, it's okay.
When it comes to this, I'm totally against this. I'm a visual learner, I'm an auditory learner. I mean, we are, but the thing is, you have to look at the content. If I'm going to learn how to drive a car, I'm not going to listen to an audio podcast. I mean, it's not going to help me to learn how to drive a car. So you have to look at the content, the knowledge itself that's going to be shared, and find the best way to learn it, okay? So if I'm going to learn a skill, I can't be just watching. I want to watch football all day. I'm not going to become Pele. So you have to actually look at the content itself and design. It's not like, I like audit. I like to play games, And also the second thing I want to emphasize is when I talk to students is you need to learn all the skills. Why is it important? Because when you start working, you don't have that freedom. Say, I want it in audio format. I think it's good to design, but we have to also encourage students to be self-learners and not just always getting the content designed in a buffet perfectly for you. Because when you start working in the real world, it's not going to be like that. And if you're so used to always getting spoon-fed exactly what you want, you're going to really struggle when you get out there. So it's good to have both ways, but you have to look at the content. If you ask me in general, when you design the content, you have to look what is going to be learned and what is the best way to learn it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be visual auditory. You have to look at what has to be learned. That's very important.
Okay.
And maybe adding to that, Zaid, I think it's about provoking the thinking, because I mean, if you give spoon-fed knowledge and then this is how to do this is sound wave. And just remember this, and then you'll get. I mean, you'll be good in your career. So I think that's the important thing in teaching and learning, because you want to give them what would you do with this? How do actually design their decision making? So if I'm giving this problem, how do I do this? How do I answer this? How do I respond to this? How do I do that? That's I think. I mean. The case studies that we give, the examples that we give, the assignments that we give in our classes, I think that's lacking in terms of, how do you relate back to the career, or how do you relate back in the future? So yeah, it's about provoking those thoughts.
Yeah. Are you provoking me?
in other
Come
words,
on, let's do it.
Well, in other words, I think the bottom line is get the students to think. So there's a cognitive engagement there. Get the students to do. So there's a psychomotor part, get them to do. Learning is by doing. Get them to do rather than get them to listen to you. Get them to sit down and passively looking and listening to you, right? Okay. So yeah, I can see.
Okay, I just online now. We're talking about drawing. I want to. It's very important to Dr. Helmi, because I think what he's doing is brilliant. He's encouraging people to draw, which is good. But I'm scared on the tracing part, because as I said, one thing when kids only think about the output. So if they get nice, it's like my son or my daughter wants to learn Arabic. When they discover Google Translate, they will never learn the language. They'll write excellent Arabic, but they'll never learn the language. And the same thing is with one of the drawing tools now. What they do is they allow you to create the most amazing things without doing anything. But at the end of the day, they'll always be dependent on, and that's one of the problems I have with tracing is, if you do tracing, you have ideas in your head, but you just cannot put it to paper because you always have to look for something that's close to it. And one of the things that I'm getting into tracing is very important. Tracing switches off the brain totally. You just follow it. It is not. But when you have to draw something, you're looking at it and drawing it, you are developing pattern recognition. You're doing computational thinking. You're doing critical thinking. You're doing analytical thinking. You're doing evaluative thinking. All these processes need to be done because when you draw something and look at it, you have to think, okay, this distance from, you're actually doing mathematics. All this is just stripped away from you, but the fact that you can draw nice. And that is one of the challenges, because kids, they don't care what part of the brain is being developed when they draw. They just, I can draw this the most amazing thing. Because my kid used to stuff the paper in front of the computer on the paper of the MacBook and trace frozen. You know, that's great. So these are the things we have to think about. We want to get the students to draw attractive stuff, but at the same time, we also want them to develop those skills, which is very important in this era of innovation and creativity, is that you have that ability to visualize what's in your head into another level. And if you're always dependent on templates and so on, you probably never can do that. You can only do what's there. And that's one of the challenges. I think what you're doing is a great job, Dr. I'm not criticizing you. I mean, I am criticizing on the tracing part, but on the tracing part, if I ask me, don't introduce it to young kids. Let them learn how to draw first and then introduce tracing. Okay?
Okay, true. And actually, why am I, introducing tracing is actually for the lecturers, for the teachers. And again, it's not about the tracing, but it's about the fear of technology. It's like, see, I can draw in 1 minute. So it's like, I'm like, no, I'm not an artist. I'm not a music compositor. So I was like, this is so hard for me. So, I mean, it's not about the tracing, but eventually we want them to move to drawing. Yeah. But I think it's about inspiring. It's about, breaking the ice with technology. That's it. I mean, I usually do that.
No,
why?
That's why I say, because when you do tracing to teachers, it's okay, because your teacher's not going to draw anyway. They're already given up. Yes. That's fine. That's fine. But when you do it to young kids, you're taking away that they just pick up a paper and sometimes they have the drawings are not so nice, but they have these great ideas. And then suddenly they have this template. They say, I want to be in a spaceship, but only they have a template on the kitchen. So I'm just going to use the kitchen template. And then, so I mean, there's a trade-off. There's a huge trade-off. The same is like, I give an example. A lot of students never took notes. They just got the nice PowerPoint stuff. They just memorized, for example. But actually, the ability to take notes is the most important skill when you start working. Your boss is talking, you're listening to the boss say, hey, you're not going to take notes? I don't know how to take notes. I just listen to you. So there's a trade-off. That's what I'm trying to share with you. So I agree, to get them excited with technology, I agree. But I'm just scared that some of these technologies, especially on the apps, drawing apps, they make it very exciting to draw, but they kill so many skills that students could have developed, but they just take it up because they want to produce something great straight away without any effort. This is something.
All right.
I think Kee Man is shaking his head. Kee Man, you're shaking your head. Tell me why you're shaking your head.
Okay, very interesting conversation that we have now.
I don't want to interrupt the provoking.
Provocation. Helmi is saying to provoke. I'm provoking him.
But I want to pick on this, Prof.
Yeah.
The one about screencast and talking head.
Yeah.
Actually, like I personally, because we did a few studies on MOOCs, videos, and also teaching videos and all that. According to a sample of about 2K plus, students actually love picture-in-picture in a way like a slide with a talking screencasting kind of video. They dislike talking head. I think, but based on our further analysis, we realize it depends on the content as well. If you're teaching something that they have to visualize, like you need to show them, right? If it's just a talking head like this, will not be useful. Let's say I'm teaching you how to use certain software or a certain tool. I need to show you how it looks like, and then with my face. But we did compare a screencast of with your face and without your face. We realized the one with the face actually triggers more positive emotion, because but provided the person who created the screencast with the face need to show expression, not something like just looking at you navigating through the software without any expression. This is where gamers come in. You see all these game streaming, they show the expression when they're playing the game. So people love to see your expression when you do it. So so if you can do that kind of screencasting, if you want to do that kind of screencasting, make sure when you are showing your face is actually full of expression in doing this. Like, for example, if I ask Dr. Helmi to demonstrate how to use the app just now, I think if I see his face, he will be very excited, you know, with that kind of expression, like same like Captain Zaid demonstrating to us how to draw and all that. If without the face, then I will not appreciate the whole content, but with the face, I will be able to appreciate the video better. So I think, I think if you want me to answer that question, that would be depends on the content and the topic, and see how it goes, you know.
Okay, very good point, Kee Man. Let's pick a point here. One point on gestures, the role of gestures, for example. Well, I think together with face expression and hand gestures. I just listened to one online course. I'm still following the course. This course is actually given by an actor, professional actor, Hollywood actor. And he made a very good point on gestures. He said, don't be afraid to use your hand, you know, the hand gesture. So we can see from the speakers here like Zaid, Kee Man, and Helmi, you know. So don't be afraid to use your hand to illustrate the point together with your face expression. Unlike the video that Dr. Helmi showed, you know, yeah, everyone. And also, if you are presenting by, you know, standing rather than sitting on a chair, where do you want to put your hand? So, and this is very interesting. He said you must have what do you call it? A station where your hand will land. But when you want to use your hand gesture, so you can use it freely, or otherwise, you can hold your two hands together like this, something like this, while you're not using it. So and put it somewhere on your stomach, maybe when you are not using it. But when you want to illustrate the point, you can use your hand. So yeah, Zaid, any comment on that?
Okay, gestures is very much cultural based, gender. I'm not gender based, and even age based. You know, like if I put my hands in a pocket, if you do that in a conventional corporate setting, it's going to be so bad, right? But if you're doing it in a cool setting, you're a gamer, you're putting your hand in your pocket, it's like, he's the guy. So it really, the hand gesture is very much important. But what is important, hand movement is very important, actually. It keeps your eyes movement going, and that means it keeps your brain more alert. So if I was just talking, you're just looking at my mouth, blah, 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 right? But if I'm starting using hands, it's kind of a hypnosis, kind of keeping you awake. I look at ustaz, you know, the teacher, they go, they use, if you look at good ustaz, even whatever religion, they use a lot of hand movement. I just see Habib Ali Zainal, because I know him. I mean, when he speaks, you look at his hands, his movement, his hypnosis is so beautiful when he emphasizes the point and he goes in here and he brings you back. It's like an adventure in itself. So even if you're sleeping, if you just watch, you know, like if you watch all-star wrestlers, they're gonna strangle you with their hands. So your hands are very important, I agree. But you have to don't watch these videos and you think, okay, I must hold my hands like this or like this, because it's very much culture based. You know, like even pointing, like when I came to Malaysia, I point with my this is like okay, the thumb. So I had to get used to that. So you have to adapt to the culture. So if you want to do for Malaysians, maybe you have to study the Malaysian culture. What is appropriate? At least you have appropriate. You don't have it using your hands and say, this is very rude. You're very rude. You're looking me in the eye, for example. Eye contact is very important in US, but in Malaysia, too much eye contact is too confronting, maybe, you know. So hand movement, that's very important. You should open up instead of closing in, you know. So these all impacts even your own mood when you present. If I put my shoulders like this, I'll automatically produce more cortisol, which is a stress hormone. You know, so you want to open up, you want a testosterone, you open up your chest. So all these impact your hormonal level, which also impacts your presentation, the energy. So, you know, look at Prof. Karim. He's sitting back, relaxed, chill. I'm the guy, I'm the godfather. But some people might be sitting like this. So how you sit also makes a difference how you feel. So maybe if people are very stressed. Maybe they're sitting like this, they're looking at the screen like the first time they've ever been on the screen, you know? Like my mom, every time I stop doing video calls with my mom because my mom is like this, because she go, hi Zaid, how are you doing? It's very stressful, you know? So maybe they're also getting stressed the way they're sitting, maybe we have to have a class on how you should sit so you feel like relaxed and chilled, you know, instead of sitting like this and you go, I got backache, got neck ache. Yeah. So those are things you have to take in mind.
And maybe one
how about
thing,
you?
I
You're
would
the
like,
chill, Mr. Chill.
Yeah.
okay, maybe I'll add to that before Kee Man. Yeah, I think the most important thing is smiling.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean,
Yeah.
like the first thing you do, smile. Okay,
Smile.
smile. I think, see the beautiful smiles. Prof. Karim smile. Captain Zaid is smiling. You know, Kee Man, Mr. Kee Man is smiling. So I think first of all, again, yeah, I think passion comes after that. The hand gestures is important, but I think smiling and I think the positivity. So we want to see, oh, you know, smiling, and oh, this is very interesting. I think I want to learn something today. You know, again, making that mindset change. I think, yeah, it's important. Smiling.
Exactly, smiling. I learned that 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I was probably not like this, you know. But someone trained me, coached me to smile more. And she was my wife, actually. She asked me to smile more. Smile more, smile more, you know. Smile is cheap. Okay. Do you want to pick up any? But I just want to come back to voice. I think Zaid made a very good point, because I followed hundreds of online courses, and I find that voice has the power to attract you to engage with the course, to listen to the course. One example, probably many of you know about Salman Han Academy. Salman from Han Academy. Oh, I love his voice, you know. It's very husky, deep voice, very calm, sounding, very soothing. Oh, I wish I had that kind of voice. But yeah, it has a power. It has a power. In fact, I'm not saying that I don't like my voice. This God has given me this voice, but actually oops. Oh, sorry. Zaid is calling me. Yeah, Zaid, anything?
Can you let me? I think my.
Oh, okay.
We lost him.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. No wonder he was frozen. Yeah. Okay. Now I have to let you in. Yeah. Okay.
My mic is signal again. I got some problems like that.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Actually, I took 2 courses on Udemy. So I have to pay for the course. This is actually a professional voice trainer, and in this course, he teach how to exercise your vocal cord and so on. To that extent, because I want to improve my delivery, my presentation, and to improve my voice. Of course, I think my own voice is something to do with my natural thing, but this is something that we need to strive all the time to improve, our things. Anything to add to that, Zaid?
Also, our level of confidence, and as well as the comfort level of the content. If you're teaching something that you don't know or you're not comfortable with, you tend to show it, like what Dr. Helmi said. Doesn't matter whether it's online or face-to-face, you tend to show it. It's just that in online environment, it's even more visible, because the moment you don't know something and then you start to record yourself talking about it or doing live session about it, people start to realize that this guy knows nothing or whatever. And then even though you don't really care about what they think, but it affects your confidence level, and then you start to be very demotivated. I think you really have to be comfortable of the content that you're delivering. So if you're talking about something that you're not familiar with, or something that you're not comfortable with, it's going to kill your motivation, if you're starting off in online learning or online training and whatnot.
And on that note, Kee Man, confidence level, and you have to know, in online environments, there's a lot of possibilities. or probabilities that technical will fail. Like just now, see Captain Zaid, he was like frozen, and then he came back. So it's like you have to be relaxed. I mean, I always have like problems like, oh my God, the iPad is not going. Oh, this is not sharing. But don't show. It's like, oh no, it's not working. You can't. I like relax, chill. Everything's okay. So you create that conversation. You have to be relaxed. Especially in like webinars, online sessions like this. So I think again, it's about positivity, calmness. Like Kiman's like, I love his like relax, cool, chill, and the passion of Captain Zaid. I think I think and the smile of Prof Karim. I have to replicate that.
But it comes with experience. Actually, it comes with experience. So that's why I think now the more we have to do more. Those who just embark on online learning, online class, if you are new, don't worry. If you are still struggling, don't worry. Because all this actually come with experience. You have to do more and more and more, and go and take other online courses, join as many webinars as possible. That's the only way we learn. I'm still taking courses online because I want to see how actually how they do it. I can pick up new ideas. Oh, that's a good thing. Maybe I can try in my own class, my own online class. So don't never stop learning, because we need to always improve, to the extent that every online session is always unpredictable. So I believe that unpredictability that will make everything so exciting. Okay, guys, I think we have maybe another 5 more minutes before we wrap up. So maybe we can pick up any questions from the chat, any comment or anything that you want to add on. The voice quality, again, I think there are a lot of comments about voice.
You should know best. I mean, I'm not a good. Helmi, Dr. Helmi should know that. He's a tech guy. Come on, Helmi. What microphone? What microphone are you using? You're so far away from the screen, but still the audio is so nice.
Well, okay. So yeah, I'm using the AirPods actually. But this is for the AirPods. But this is for Macs and the Apple ecosystem. But I think well, I have the this is the wireless microphone. I love this microphone. But I think it's about before you buying anything, please review online. There's a lot of if there's like 1,000 reviews on that, that's good. Believe me, I think it's because it's real reviews. So I think the norm now is actually looking online, getting in online, getting the reviews. But there's a lot of good equipment out there. Yeah.
Zaid, Zaid, maybe you can share because you sound so good. Your audio is very good. So maybe you want to share with the audience.
Actually, my computer's crashed now for the second time.
Is it? Oh, okay.
My computer keeps on crashing me all the time. I don't know. Because the problem is I've been lending my computer to my daughter or kids now, so I don't know what's going on. Okay. No, I think I'm just using a Logitech. I think this is old style. It doesn't look as cool. But I think one of the reasons maybe why the sound is good quality is because the mic is always at the same wavelength from the mouth. I think that helps a lot when you use a mic like this, because even if you have a good tech, if you move here up and down, I don't know how good, you probably have to have the 1,000 ringgit to the sound is always consistent quality. But I think having this, that's why I don't have the high-tech stuff anyway, but I still like to use this because this keeps that distance. Even when people, like Michael Jackson sings the whole time, used to have like this, I feel, but it's very good. Just have a mic here. It's the same distance. But if you keep it too close, also then
okay, guys. To end this session, I want to throw a challenge to you. A challenge.
Drawing challenge.
Try to think only one additional point that you have not mentioned, that we have not mentioned in this session. Attention grabbing thing that we can use in designing our online class. anything that you have not mentioned. We talk about voice, we talk about enthusiasm, passion, smile, storytelling, things like that, So if you were to change one thing in your online session now that would really grab the attention and hook the audience, what would it be? So who wants to start first?
Let me start by
Okay.
one word. I think disrupt.
Disrupt.
So disrupt, yes. So
Disrupt.
disrupt everything that you're doing. Disrupt all your, previous things that you're doing. Do something different. Disrupt your technology. Use something different. Disrupt your ways of doing. I think, that's. I mean, to change, to make. I mean, yourself not bored. So, oh, this is so boring. I'm so boring. Disrupt yourself and do something different.
Do something different. Disrupt. All right.
True, yeah.
That's from Dr. Helmi. Who's next?
Add on to that, I'll pick one word: do.
Do. Okay.
I mean, I realized, I've been doing all these online videos, things about, when I was in high school, because I created content for my school. Back then, we don't even have an audience. I have like 10, 20 peers looking at it. If you keep on thinking about pleasing, getting a large crowd or whatever, somehow you feel demotivated. But along the way, I learned a lot of things. I tried out so many apps like Zoom. People are talking about Zoom. I've been using it since 2015. I've been trying out things and all that. I think the key word is we have to do it. And to tell you the truth, if you ask my teachers, I'm not like this. I don't talk a lot in schools. I'm very introvert. I don't really have confidence to talk in front of people. I don't even my English sometimes was like very terrible because I'm a dyslexic child. I have dyslexia actually. But that somehow, I think, because by trying along the way, gives me that kind of confidence that I can improve, and I can try and change things. And I think all the educators here should replicate what Dr. Helmi has mentioned. Just do something different, disrupt. Don't be too bothered about whether you get it right or get it wrong. Just try it first, and then along the way, we try to improve. You can't say anything without trying. I have colleagues who say, no, you don't do this, don't do that. But when I ask, have you tried? No. How do you know that it doesn't work for you, right? So Captain, you wrap it up.
Okay, Captain.
Okay. Sejuk. No, I'm just joking. I think the one word that comes to mind that people not doing enough is move. I think because maybe one of the reasons that people are so headache and getting Zoom fatigue, somebody mentioned this, Zoom fatigue, is because they're just sitting down and not moving. And you can move. I was watching on CNN. Yeah, a moving class. Even simple things like, do you agree? Everybody raise your hand. I mean, if you have the Zoom, you can see, right? Just to create that interaction. I was watching CNN. They were actually having this fitness club. They had a huge fitness club, and this guy was so innovative. So he started offering yoga classes through Zoom. Yoga classes through Zoom. So what happened was, the people like it so much now. So even when they start convention again, they're still going to have online classes, yoga. Because of course you can watch the video, but when you're doing yoga together with 100 people, you see the videos, and people are so excited. This is really good. So I think even in the normal classroom, do a bit of movement. Maybe people. Some teachers will have like the first 2 minutes. Let's go shake our shoulders, shake our arms. Do something. Move a bit. Do activities with movement. Even when you want to do multiple choice question, you can have different, creative ways of saying yes. Kids, they need to move, because just the head like this. I mean, if I sit like this for 3-4 hours, I'll go fatigue after one day. So maybe a bit more movement. Find ways to be creative in the movement. How to answer things. Make some movement. Maybe put on some music. Do some shakes. Because one of the biggest challenges is blood circulation. For you to be active and creative and so on, you need blood circulation. So if you're just sitting there, your blood circulation goes down, and definitely you're going to get sleepy and tiring and headaches and backaches and so on. So move a bit more when you're teaching, and get the people to move more so they'll enjoy it. Have fun. Have fun in the movement.
Have
movement
fun. I was going to say about having fun. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think we're having a lot of fun in this session with three of you. I don't know what to say. It's really, really very, very good discussion, a lot of points. So we have made a lot of good points about engaging and also creating the attention-grabbing activities or ways to grab attention of the students. So, it's two
you don't
hours.
Want to finish.
No.
Don't want to finish. This is like coffee shop, right? Coffee shop. So we just want to go on.
the positive vibes from all of you really energized me. You know, it's this like not like a fasting month.
Oh yeah, we still got another 7 hours.
Yeah.
Kee Man, lucky you, Kee Man. You can join us today, lah.
So I think we have to end our session now. We have wrap up the session. So I'd like to thank all our speakers, Mr. Chuah Kee Man, Dr. Muhammad Helmi, Norman, and also Mr. Captain Zaid Alsagoff.
BM Sejuk.
BM Sejuk.
BM Sejuk.
I have a All right, and thank you to all our audience for being very active, participating, sharing points, asking questions. So I hope this session is actually being recorded and will be available on my YouTube channel. When mentioning about my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe. Click that subscribe and notification the bell. Okay, because we will bring you a lot of good content. And Mr. Chuah Kee Man also has a YouTube channel. Follow him.
Very good.
Yeah, follow his YouTube. Very good channel. And
BM Sejuk. He's BM Sejuk.
BM Sejuk. And I think, Helmi, you have your YouTube channel as well, right?
Yes, and we would like to encourage you to join our Apple Learning Community Malaysia. I think that's a good Facebook group for everybody to share on their innovations there.
Yeah, follow them. Follow Helmi, follow Chuah Kee Man, follow Zaid, and join our Aspiring Young Academics Facebook, because we'll be sharing a lot of good stuff. Only good stuff you will find on our Facebook and also on our YouTube channel. We don't share rubbish things. There are a lot of rubbish out there. So with that, once again, thank you very much. Have a good day and have a fruitful, productive day ahead. And selamat berpuasa for the rest of Ramadan. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And nice
moment.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Zaid. Thank you, Kee Man, and thank you, Helmi. Yeah. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Leave. I'm supposed to leave now.
Yeah. We are leaving.